Major 1 of the Black Ops 6 season has come to an end with Atlanta FaZe taking home the trophy in probably one of the best grand finals I've watched in a really long time. So now, as you can tell by the title, it's time to update our power rankings. And here's just a quick look at the bracket, as you can see on screen, who got top 4, right? Heretics making a dream run in their home country in Madrid, going to top 3. Ravens getting a top 4. A couple teams flopping out like OpTic or Ultra. And then here's just a quick look at the updated overall standings right now. So like if champs were to happen right now, these would be the top 8 and the ones that wouldn't make it. Just to give you an idea, because obviously for power rankings, the major is going to have a major impact, right? No pun intended there, because it is a LAN event. But obviously the whole season is kind of taken into account and it updates every single week. So here's just a look at this. I mean, FaZe far and ahead in first place. But it is time to talk about the power rankings. I mean, we'll just get through the first one quick and easy. Falcons are still at 12. They still have not gotten a win. They got 3-0'd by the Ravens in losers round 1. Not a lot to say. These guys need kicks back at the very least. Then coming into number 11, I have LAG down 2 spots. I mean, for LAG, I've been giving them the benefit of the doubt because I feel like a lot of their maps and series can be pretty close, but they lost 3-2 to OpTic Texas. I mean, this is just a team that has not gotten wins on the board, right? They have 2 wins on the season. One of those comes to the Vegas Falcons, which barely feels like it should count at this point. And they have the second least amount of map wins so far across the season. This is just a team that, honestly, they need to start winning before I can really put them higher because other teams are at least picking up some wins here and there. Now we get into number 10, also going to be down 3 spots here. I have the Vancouver Surge. The Surge, another team like LAG and like the Falcons who went 9th through 12th at the event. They lost 3-0 to Ultra in winners round 1 and then 3-1 to Rocker. This is just a team, I mean, looking at the team stats, none of these guys are really getting kills when it's necessary. I really think they need to change a 1, if not 2-man change. They were able to pick up, wins here and there online. You see they beat Miami. Then they went on a little 3-win streak here. Falcons, Ravens, Rockers. So they're a team with some upset potential, especially if it goes game 5. But overall, these guys need to change, man. And I just had to drop them in the ranks. Then we get into number 9. Up 2 spots, I do have Cloud9 New York. Cloud9 into number 9 in the rankings. It just all works out. They did get a 7th through 8th at this event. They were able to get a win versus the Boston Breach in a game 5 on LAN. And then they ended up losing 3-1 to the Rocker. Sib looked much better on LAN, which was good to see. And this team just looked in general better on LAN. But overall, this is just one of the teams where, like, do they need a roster change or should they make one? Probably. But I honestly don't know if they will because they showed some promise. And their subs, I feel like, are pretty good. Their ARs have been more of the problem. Maybe they make a move. They drop attach and they try to bring in maybe a bit more of a selfless AR who's willing to fill the gaps and let Sib just kind of run around and get kills. But we'll see what these guys do. They showed a little bit more promise on LAN, hence why they're up. Coming into number 8, a team that's down a few spots here. It's going to be the Boston Breach, down 3 spots. Boston absolutely, I mean, I don't know if choking is the right word, but they got kind of cooked on LAN. I mean, this is a team, right, coming into this. Look at these wins they're picking up. OpTic, Miami, Surge, Ravens, LAT, right? Last match coming into the major. But then they got 3-0'd by Atlanta FaZe. I mean, not much you could do there, right? FaZe won the event. They were amazing. And then 3-2'd by Cloud9 New York. Purge kind of got cooked on LAN. Cammy and Awakening both had some struggling times, but also had some good maps. Snoopy, I thought, was pretty good overall. But this team is in a weird spot where, like, I feel like the chemistry and, like, the teamwork and everything looks so much better than last year. It's hard to, like, say, oh, they should make a roster change. But I do think if they were able to swap out either Cammy or Awakening for a more consistent slaying AR, someone that's just going to guarantee you some more kills, it would just overall help because it's so back and forth with these two. I mean, you could see the stats right here. 78 Slayer rating, 80 Slayer rating. They're both going negative. Purge had a rough one on LAN, like I said, but I think him and Snoopy's chemistry looks good on the map. I personally think they should pick up an AR to hopefully guarantee some more kills to help Snoopy out in that department, but they ended up 9th through 12th, which is a major disappointment on LAN for me. And then to round out our right side of the graphic here at number 7, up a spot, it is the Minnesota Rocker. The Rocker came away with a 5th, 6th at this event, which isn't too bad. They beat Vancouver Surge in losers round 1. They beat Cloud9 New York in losers round 2. And then they fell to the eventual top 3 guys in the Miami Heretics in a 3-2 fashion. This Rocker team is probably like the dark horse, I feel like, of the year. Like, if I had to pick one dark horse team for the entirety of the major or the first split, it would be these guys. They're able to get wins in game 5. And you know what I mean? Like, look online, right? 3-2, 3-2, 3-2, 3-2. And then on LAN, they got 2 3-1s. But this is just a team looking at the stats all around. Everybody kind of does their job. I think Paul X is the obvious odd man out. And I know they said they brought Paul in to play or to help their SND. And maybe in the comms and stuff like that, he does help. But he's still their worst SND player. To me, this feels like an obvious pickup here for Illy for Paul X. Illy is a great SMD player, but also will be able to hold his own a bit more, I think, in the respawns. I know some people are like, you know, Illy's not really one of the guys in 2025 anymore, but I think he fits perfectly on this team with what it seems like they want Paul X to be. But the rest of them were great. Gio was phenomenal on LAN. Estrel and Nero have been great all season long. Great sub duo, in my opinion. This is just a team that I think is one change away from really competing for top 6, even top 4 every single major. And I mean, getting a 5th, 6th at this event is honestly not too bad for the first one. All right, now we get into our top 6. And at number 6, I believe our biggest fall of the teams, down 4 spots, it is OpTic Texas. OpTic, obviously the biggest disappointments of the event for pretty much everybody, including myself. They lost in winners round 1 to Miami Heretics in a game 5, a team that pretty much everyone thought they should beat. Then they were able to take LAG down in a game 5, super close. I think was this game 5 round 11? This was super, super close. And then they obviously fell 3-1 to the Royal Ravens in the next round. So going out top 8 here for an OpTic team, coming in as the number 1 seed. Obviously a lot of hype around them. Surprisingly, HAVOK being their best player on LAN, right? A lot of people say HAVOK can't perform on LAN, but Shotzi was relatively non-existent in a lot of the maps. Dashy was relatively non-existent. Kenny went on a 14 death streak or a 16 death streak on that one Skyline versus Miami map 4. He had some moments, but was overall pretty hit or miss. And HAVOK, like I said, was pretty good. This is the team. They're not going to make a roster change. I don't think they should make a roster change. They're going to be fine, I think, in the long term, but they just forgot how to play hardpoint. They were the best HP team coming into this event. And now they're to 14 and 10. I don't think they won an HP, or maybe they only won 1 HP this whole event. So not good for OpTic, and obviously they're going to be falling in the rankings. Now we get to number 5, down 1 spot. It is the Toronto Ultra. Ultra came 5th, 6th at the event. A top 6 for them is definitely disappointing, though. They were able to 3-0 the Surge in their first round, which is cool, but Surge are kind of buns. Then they got 3-0'd by FaZe, even though all 3 of these maps were super close. And then they got 3-2'd by the Royal Ravens to go out top 6, like I said. Another one of the teams that disappointing, don't think they're going to make a change. I saw people saying, like, drop Insight. I saw people saying drop Joe Deceives. I think this team should stick it out. We know what they're capable of. Insight's been a little bit underwhelming. I think he's got to pick up the pace a little bit, especially in a game like BO6. You just got to play a little bit faster. And I think this team can be pretty good, pretty solid going forward, but definitely a disappointing performance. I think CleanX was pretty good on LAN. Beans and Joe Deceives had their moments in Insight, like I said. He was actually shooting back decently, I think, in the respawns on LAN, but this is a team that I think is going to be fine going forward. Now we're into our top 4, and at number 4, the team that rose the most after last week's ranking coming into this week, up to the number 4 spot, up 6 spots, is Miami Heretics. The Miami Heretics absolutely made a Cinderella story type of run here at the event. I mean, to start in winners round 1, to pull the number 1 seed, right? They came in as the number 8. They played OpTic. They were able to beat them. Then they got 3-0'd by LA Thieves. Then they took down the Rocker. Then they took down the Ravens. And then they got 3-0'd by LA Thieves again. So they were 3-0'd by LAT twice. So, I mean, losing to the same team twice in one event's probably got to hurt. But this team was so bad, honestly, on LAN. I mean, their only 2 wins online. Sorry, their only 2 wins online were to the Falcons, who, like I said, barely count, and Cloud9 New York. So that's a good win. Honestly, that's a solid win. But overall, I mean, this team came in as a 2-5. If you take out the Falcons, I mean, the 1-5, right, online, but was able to show out on LAN. They obviously had the home crowd, right? He was in Madrid. They had fans there cheering for them, friends, family. Super awesome to see the crowd behind them in many of these moments as they made this run. I kind of think they saved their team here. I don't think they're going to make a change. A lot of people have been saying drop Lucky, bring in Super, or drop Metals, bring in Super. I don't know how that would work because Metals is a sub and Super's an AR, but I think they saved themselves. I don't think they make a change. Maybe long-term, they probably should, but I think they're going to ride it out at least for the next major. Honestly, super impressive out of these guys. Like, really, really impressive to get a top 3 coming in as the 8th seed. Now we get to number 3, and actually, they didn't move. It's still the Royal Ravens for me at number 3. And I know there's probably going to be some people who say, like, Miami beat them, so Miami should be higher than them in the rankings. And I guess you could have that opinion, but power rankings are not meant to just be an exact copy of the Major 1 standings, right? You know what I mean? Like, it's not supposed to be exactly what happened. Ravens were at 3 going into the event. They got a top 4. They played pretty well. I mean, they beat OpTic. They beat Ultra, 2 teams who were ranked either slightly higher or slightly lower than them coming into the event. So I think they could stay at 3. Also, considering Vivid had 1 eye for, like, I don't know, the first couple days of the event. Not too bad to consider getting top 4 here with the 1-eyed Raven over here. Yeah, these guys, I think, were good, man. I think they're good. People say to, you know, swap Vivid for maybe someone else who could play his role and just kind of have a little bit of a higher KD, get some more kills. I thought Reese was actually decent on LAN. They got a top 4, another team that I just don't see making a change, right? You get a top 4, you probably won't change. Maybe you should long-term, like I said, for Miami, but it's just not typically what's going to happen. So I still got the Ravens at number 3. And then, I mean, obviously, everyone knows who 1 and 2 are going to be. LAT up 5 spots. They were falling in previous weeks, right? Because they lost a bunch in the previous weeks, but at the major showed out, and obviously FaZe are number 1. First, to talk about my Thieves, man. First of all, I mean, I'm going to talk more about the whole major and my Thieves in my Champ Sunday episode, which I believe I should be uploading tonight. But I was honestly super proud of these guys. The hardpoint looked so much better on LAN than it did in the last couple weeks online. The control still looks good. The SND still hit or miss, but was able to have so many close SNDs versus FaZe across the 2 series. Getting reverse swept by FaZe in the winners finals is absolutely devastating. But at the end of the day, it came down to a single round in a game 7, round 11. So I think they did really good. The whole team pulling their weight. Envoy was incredible on LAN. He was easily the team MVP for me. Scrap was really, really good. I know he dropped a donut in the one SND in the finals, but it is what it is, right? Hydra still being a little bit hit or miss, especially in search and destroy. But at the end of the day, he was much better on LAN, in my opinion. And Dan Ghosty, super icy, super clutch. This team, I think, will be a problem all season long, once they figure out their SND. I think these guys are gonna be really, really good. And then obviously the champions, Atlanta FaZe, they won it all. They're on like a 12 series win streak, I think, at this point. They took down Thieves twice, 3-0 Ultra. I mean, they didn't lose a map up until they played LAT, right? 3-0, 3-0 for Boston and Ultra. I mean, they have not lost since the Ravens 3-0 on December 14th, which at this point was almost 2 months ago. It was like 6-7 weeks ago. These guys, looking at their stats, are incredible. Every single one. I think Celium personally was the MVP. I know Simp won it. You kind of could have given it to anyone, honestly, but Celium, especially pulling out that Jackal on Hossies, on Vault, really, I think, was the game changer, especially versus the Thieves, because they just couldn't match pace. Like, the LAT just could not match pace. I feel like when Celium and even Draza had Jackals out, I think that really was the game changer. And, I mean, FaZe was incredible, man. A lot of people were saying they should have made they were going to need to make changes after they started 0-3, this and that. I've been saying these guys are fine. I mean, it's Atlanta FaZe at the end of the day. And look what happens, right? They are absolutely fine. They have not lost since they started 0-3. So shout out to FaZe, GG's to them. I mean, it was just an incredible event. But those are the power rankings post Major 1. I mean, this is like the power rankings, right, for the whole split. FaZe is the best team, right? They pretty much have beaten anyone and everyone they've come across. But you let me know what you think about the rankings. What do you agree with or disagree with the most? I'm sure someone will say OpTic should be lower. I'm sure someone will say OpTic should be higher. I'm sure OpTic will be the topic of conversation in the comments most likely. But I think this is pretty fair, right? Given what we've seen online and then on LAN, I think this is pretty good. And I can't wait to watch more. We don't have COD for about 2 weeks. Our next matches are on the 14th of February. So we got ourselves 11 days around about until we get to watch COD again. But more videos, streams, things like that coming across these next couple weeks. So I appreciate you all. Thank you for the support on everything, watch parties, and all the content I've been putting out. 2025 has been incredible. Make sure to check out Agent Picks and Juvie. Use code MAV, and both of those links are in the description. And hopefully, I'll see you all in the next one.